The Cape Cod Chamber is making expansion plans. Hyannis Fire District voters will head to the polls next Tuesday, and we find out what Craigville Beach has to offer. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Thursday, June 26th, 2014. I'm Sarah Mannell. The Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce is working to expand its headquarters in Centerville. The organization went before the Zoning Board of Appeals last night to request a variance for the 370 square foot addition and plans for an enlarged parking lot. Attorney Eliza Cox spoke on behalf of the Cape Cod Chamber before the vote.
The existing property is benefited, as was indicated in the notice, by two existing use variances. The first use variance was granted in 1957, and it allowed for the original construction of this building. At the time, it was zoned residential when that variance was granted. In 2003, that original variance was modified, and this building was allowed to expand, and a second building was also permitted under the 2003 variance for office uses. The relief that we're requesting tonight is really twofold. The Chamber is looking to construct a 370 square foot addition, which I've highlighted in yellow, to this existing building on the westerly existing building, primarily to allow for expanded meeting space. Presently, the meeting space is inadequate, and in fact, the Chamber Board can't even meet in the building, so they have to go off-site. This will enable the meeting space to meet the Chamber's needs. The Chamber's also looking to increase the parking on the site. 46 parking spaces are proposed. That's more than zoning requires, so that would be adequate for the use. And one significant enhancement is the proposed internal loop of the driveway. Right now, the pavement ends here, so if you come up looking for a parking space and need to turn around or don't find one, you have to maneuver within the site and come back around. With this plan, they're proposing to loop the driveway back on itself, which will significantly improve circulation on the site, both for vehicles and also for emergency service providers. When the Chamber first approached my office about this small addition on already existing disturbed area of the site, again, it's only 370 square feet, I wondered, does this even require coming to the zoning board because it's so de minimis? And I met with the building commissioner to have that discussion. There is a condition within the last variance that was granted that requires development per plans. So his read, and I think he's right, is that it did require us to come back to you for this modification. But when we were talking, we were saying it's kind of a shame for such a small project to have to go through this process, and wondering if there's a way to make this process more meaningful for the Chamber, and came up with the second variance modification request that's before you. At some point in the future, the Chamber is likely to expand on the site. Plans haven't been developed at that stage, but in discussion with the building commissioner, we wondered if there was a way to pre-permit that now, subject to certain conditions to ensure that there wouldn't be any adverse impacts, and that then wouldn't have to come back to the board, provided all of those conditions were met. And so that's the genesis of the second variance modification request that's before you. And I'll walk through that in just a moment. In terms of the legal criteria, the first two prongs of the variance, that there are unique conditions and that a literal enforcement, which in this case would be a residential use, is a substantial hardship, those were already determined with the prior use variances. And if anything, I would suggest both of those have intensified. Since the original use variance, Route 6 has changed, the traffic configuration, the exit ramps as they abut the site have been changed. In addition, the property is developed with commercial structures, thereby making it even more of a significant hardship to require residential-only use on this property. The question that's before you tonight is really the third prong of the variance, and that is whether desirable relief may be granted without substantial detriment or derogation. And I would suggest the answer to you in both instances is no. As it relates, yes, it may be granted. There is no substantial detriment or derogation. In both instances, I think that is the case. Relative to the smaller addition, the 370 square foot addition, we did receive site plan approval for it. There's very minimal impact associated with that addition. It meets all of the dimensional and parking requirements of the zoning ordinance. It provides the needed meeting space for the Chamber. It increases parking, and with the looped driveway, will significantly improve site circulation.
Ultimately, the Zoning Board of Appeals voted to allow the variance, moving the Cape Cod Chamber's expansion plans forward. Hyannis residents have another chance to vote on plans for a new and improved Hyannis Fire Station. A $19.8 million version of the plan failed to gain a 2/3 majority support at a meeting held at Barnstable High School back in March. Since then, the cost of the project has been reduced to about $16.9 million. The new vote takes place Tuesday, July 1st in the Barnstable High School Performing Arts Center. Summer is in full swing, and that means many more beach days. This week we begin our series highlighting each of Barnstable's beaches. First up is Craigville Beach. We share that interview with you now. We are here at Craigville Beach, and I'm with Hannah Spillane, the Craigville Beach Supervisor. Thanks so much for sitting down with us today.
My pleasure.
Wanted to talk a little bit about what Craigville Beach has to offer. Tell me, what kind of amenities does Craigville Beach have?
Sure, absolutely. Well, one of our biggest features is we have two beach wheelchairs, and one goes in the water and the other one just stays on the land. But they're really easy to use, they're very friendly, and then with the bathhouse itself, it's very wheelchair accessible. So that's one of my features that I really like about it.
Let me ask you, before we move on from there, let me ask you, if someone is coming to the beach and they know that they need that equipment, do they need to call ahead, or is it something that is just here and ready and waiting?
It's something that's here and always ready. You know, if it's a busy day, you might have to wait just a little bit just because we do only have two, but usually it's never an issue. And what we try to do is, you know, our gate attendants will let us know if it's mentioned. They can radio into me and we'll get it all set up and ready. And yeah, so we have them.
Great, glad to know that that's here at Craigville Beach. There is no specific town snack bar at Craigville Beach, but there are a couple convenient options located pretty close to Craigville Beach.
Absolutely, right across the street, there's two really great snack bars. We have the Barnacle and the Craigville Beach Grill, and some good snacks there. You know, it's hard to sit across the street and not go over there and you know, get stuff there. So yeah, those are great. We have those instead of an ice cream truck. So
awesome, great option, and definitely just a quick jump across the street. Talk to me a little bit about other amenities that Craigville Beach may have.
Well, I do know that in all the bathhouses, but including Craigville, we have sunblock available in the bathroom, which is really important because a lot of people come and they forget that, you know, they forget it at home or something like that. So that's something we do have.
Or they thought that they had enough sunscreen, but then
Right.
they pulled it out and it's
expired.
gone.
Right, yeah, exactly. So that's one of our other features that we have.
That is so great. And how is that provided for the town, for the sunscreen?
Well, there's the Glenna Cole Fund, and we had a wonderful lifeguard who unfortunately passed away as a result of melanoma, and the Glenna Cole Fund provides the sunscreen. They also provide the canopies over the lifeguard stands so that they're protected from the sun at all times.
Definitely an important thing as we're heading out to the beach. Everyone should remember to put on that very important sunscreen. Anything else you want to highlight about Craigville Beach?
It's a safe place. I grew up coming here, and you know, I never questioned my safety or anything. It's a safe, fun place, and so the staff, including myself, try to keep it that way and make memories for the people that we grew up with.
Talk to me a little bit about the hours that Craigville Beach is open.
Sure. Well, the gates open at 7 a.m. and then the bathhouse is open until 6:30, and that's when our staff goes home and everything. So
great. And then lifeguards are here a lot of the summer, and if anyone needs help, definitely they can always turn to a lifeguard.
absolutely, directions, first aid, anything like that, anything to an emergency.
Talk to me a little bit about the amenities in the bathhouse here at Craigville Beach. What is there to offer for beachgoers?
Well, at the very basic level, we have first aid, but we also have bathrooms, changing rooms, and then there's 2 outdoor showers on either side of the bathhouse. We also run certain activities, so lifeguard training and things like that are also run from the bathhouse.
Great, such a busy hub of activity, and if anyone needs help, lifeguards are always here for that help.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us. Hannah Spillane is the Craigville Beach Supervisor. For Channel 18, I'm Sarah Mannel. Well, be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 7 a.m. On tomorrow's show is our weekly Arts and Culture segment featuring the Cotuit Center for the Arts. Plus, we'll chat with Animal Control Officer Charlie Lewis. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.